Hey everybody, this is James,
Marco,
Nabil,
and Mikey.
And this is the Movie Pals Podcast, episode number 218. Today we're doing a review on Emerald Fennell's newest film, Wuthering Heights. Let's get into it.
What should you do, Heathcliff? If you were rich?
I suppose I'd do what all rich men do. Live in a big house. And be cruel to my servants. Take a wife.
A wife? What wife?
Wuthering Heights, currently sitting at 60% on Rotten Tomatoes. The synopsis is a passionate and tumultuous love story set against the backdrop of the Yorkshire moors, exploring the intense and destructive relationship between Heathcliff and Catherine Earnshaw. This film was directed and written by Emerald Fennell, who also did Promising Young Woman back in 2020, as well as Saltburn in 2023. This movie is based on a classic novel by Emily Brontë and was released in theaters currently on February 13th, 2026, starring Margot Robbie as Cathy Earnshaw, Jacob Elordi as Heathcliff, Hong Chow as Nelly Dean, Shazad Latif as Edgar Linton, Alison Oliver as Isabella Linton, Martin Clunes as Mr. Earnshaw, and Ewan Mitchell as Joseph. So let's get some quick impressions about this movie. First of all, what do we think about it? Has anybody actually, do you have any history with this film? I'm going to go to you, Marco, first. Have you actually read the novel? Have you seen any other versions of this movie in the past? It's a classic. It's been around for a little bit.
I mean, I've seen the book when I used to work at Barnes & Noble. Saw it on the shelves.
The book cover?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's about it. And
That's
it was a
pretty
Barnes &
good
Noble classic. No experience with the previous movies. I didn't even know there were other remakes. I just thought there was the one original, and that was it.
Okay. How about Mikey? Any history with this?
Mikey don't read stuff, so I haven't read the book. And
Understood.
I was planning on watching some of the older ones, but I was really busy this week. I barely even got this movie in. I watched it this morning, so I have not seen any of the previous stuff either.
How about you, James? Any history with this film? Have you ever read the novel or anything?
No, I'm not really into the whole, what is this?
Romance? Love?
English literature. I mean, this is kind of like a type, you know?
Yeah.
Same with Pride and Prejudice and all that. So that's kind of how you... I don't know. It might not. I don't know. I'm just talking to my ass right now.
I mean, it's the period of these kind of books.
That's those kind of movies I think of, and usually I'm not really a big fan. So honestly, no, I haven't seen the other previous two. There might be more than two iterations. I don't even know, but no, I haven't. This is not really my genre of movie.
Sure.
By the way, we understand, everyone. 4 guys in their late 30s. Well, half you guys are in your 40s now. Fuck. We're not take it with a grain of salt for this review, okay? We get it. We tried to get someone on, didn't happen. We had a lot of people flaking on me this weekend. So
you are all more than welcome to ask if you want to join an episode. We will not say no.
I was trying to get a female on this one. I'm not gonna lie. I tried. Just didn't happen. So
we did our best here, but
I
hey,
almost
you
got
get to hear
flaked on.
us
I feel
talk
it.
about it. So yeah.
yeah.
Well, I will say I am also an uncultured swine, but I did watch a couple of the original films. My wife specifically enjoyed the 1939 film with Laurence Olivier, so I saw that version, which was interesting. It wasn't bad. I'd never read the novel though. I know there's a few other iterations that have been made of the film over time. I think the next big famous one was in the 90s with Ray Fiennes. So there's been a few versions here, but I will say I kind of agree with you, James. Even I'm a big fan of English lit, but I never really read this book either. This was never on my radar, so I have a hard enough time saying the title as it is. So I don't know if I could advocate for the film or the novel on my end.
From what I understand too, this version is like really different from the novel and other iterations of the films. From what I've read into,
yeah,
from what I saw on Wikipedia, yeah.
Most of the books, most of the adaptations of film kind of cut off the second half of the book where basically there's a little bit of spoiler here. I mean, it's a very classic story, so I'm not going to really spoil too much as far as the film is concerned, but the book will spoil a little bit where there's a little haunting at the second half of the story of Heathcliff being haunted by Cathy for a while. And so that is never really shown in the movies. For some reason, they just go with the love story, and that's where they like to cut it off. So that's basically how this one is kind of playing off too. But a lot of the substance in this film is a little different. So, but regardless of that, so just to ask, what were your actual thoughts on the movie experience of watching in the theater? I'm assuming everybody actually. Let's ask you, Mikey, since you saw it this morning. You got a fresh perspective. What was your experience in the theater?
Well, I was by myself. I was the only one there this morning.
Okay,
and right. So I don't know how the crowd reacted to any of the scenes or anything like that, but I thought it was okay. I like a lot of the side characters. I thought they were a little more interesting than the main two. So that was kind of weird for me, but overall, I thought it was just an okay movie. Wasn't terrible, but it didn't blow me out of the water either.
Okay. And James, if I remember, you said that you saw a very early showing of this film.
Yeah, I'm one of two people here to see it in the last 24 hours. Yeah, I got an early screening. I haven't done one of those in like a really long time. I'm Marco and you know, actually back in the day, like I used to when I worked in the city. I think I got it like a bunch all the time.
We saw quite a few early screenings back in the day.
Yeah, because we were like so close to it, you know. So sometimes it was like convenient. It was cool. It was a lot. It was a pretty much sold out crowd for when I went to it. It was mostly female, honestly. If I was to be completely honest about the demographic out there, and everybody seemed to really enjoy the film. I liked it overall. I really liked the look of the film as well. I think Emerald Fennell is really good as a director. Promising Young Woman I really like, but Saltburn, as you guys know, is one of my faves. So maybe I'm going a little bit biased on it, but I really liked it. I really like the two leads, unlike Mikey. So that's, for me, Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi kind of sell the whole thing to me. So overall, I mean, we'll jump into that more, but yeah.
How about you, Marco? What was your experience like?
I saw it really late last night, so it was
last night. Okay,
not I'm with Mikey. We just fresh eyes right here. There wasn't a lot of people there. It wasn't even like half full. I think it's probably a quarter. It was mainly couples. There were some women that went as a group also. I thought it was okay. I thought it looked good. I agree with James. It looked really good. I think this director really makes his films look great. I like the performances of the main two leads. The characters themselves were whatever, but I think what made them pop were the actors themselves. Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi, I think, did good with what they had. I mean, it's a very simple story for the most part. You know, we've seen this type of story before, and the look was okay. You know, it was middle of the road for me.
You didn't like the dimple wall, the skin? The pink flesh over there.
Based on Margot Robbie's actual skin, by the way.
Yeah, you weren't a fan of that. That was interesting. I
don't know
why they did
wild,
that, but
there's a lot in this movie. If you dig a little deep on it, there's a lot. Even like the hair in the beginning. That's Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi's real hair.
Yeah,
spelling out the wording. Yeah, I was like, oh, creepy.
But it was, there were some fresh, creative takes on it that I was like, okay, sure, let's make it a little different. All right.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I went on Friday night. It was the day before Valentine's Day. It was a big date night. So my theater was packed with couples. I will say, just from perspective, everybody's talking about the director. Emerald Fennell, she, like, visually speaking, she makes visually striking films. It's a very beautiful landscapes, the colors. She has, like, there's I don't know what it's supposed to be, but it's like a blood red room that she has. I know she loves red in a lot of her films, and it's actually works really well. Like, evokes kind of the emotion of that room. Obviously, we're talking about the skin laden walls in her bedroom and Cathy's bedroom, which was interesting, but fun. There's obviously the Wuthering Heights itself is different from the other movies that I saw, the original ones, the older ones, I should say. But it's got its own little character, and that fog looks like its own life because people seem to just disappear to it every time they walk into it.
If I could add, it almost feels like a fantasy, magical kind of like a...
Exactly.
I felt like the vibe of that whole area was like a Hansel and Gretel kind of a feel to it all.
Yeah,
I don't know what. Kind of like that, like a folk tale-y, fairy tale-y kind of thing. Even when he brings up
like
later that he's
Hollow,
like...
but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly. But a little bit more like fantasy, though.
But then when you go to the Linton's estate, it looks like, royalty. You could see the gaudiness of it, the money that they're spending on it, like the cleanliness into it. Like
and
there's
that
class
would be. I agree, Demo. That's the ones that remind me of like. It's more of a stylized version of these British kind of romantic
absolutely.
novellas, I guess is what I'm getting at. That we're talking about earlier.
Yeah, adding on to that too, that the costumes were really well done.
Oh, yeah.
There was this one with the wedding dress where she's running through the field, like to the house. And it was just like a really cool shot. It was just flowing everywhere, just big field.
That was
it was a really nice shot. Yeah.
And that Charlie XCX soundtrack, you're like,
I thought she was in this film as well, but I guess she just did the soundtrack. So I was like, okay.
Unless she has a cameo somewhere, I wouldn't be shocked. But she does every song though.
But yeah, she does. I also like the dress. Speaking of the clothing, that really stood out for me was I think it was on her wedding night. She had this like reflective, I don't know, plastic white dress. I was like, obviously it's not of the period, but also it's kind of fun. So as far as direction is concerned, Emerald Fennell did her styles all over it, and I think that's fun. It's not quite satiric, right? Like she's not trying to make it a satire, but also she is a little bit teasing, saying like, let's just have fun with the period,
Yeah, like I mean, I almost feel like with her last few movies, it's like this one's the most like obvious with it. Like for the reason why it's in like quotations, if you notice that Wuthering Heights, it's because it's like it's not the true Wuthering Heights. It's like her interpretation of Wuthering Heights.
Of it.
So with her saying that made a lot of sense, especially with how the movie kind of flows. I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and if you frame it that way, it makes it better to feel like it's an adaptation of the book, but not a direct adaptation.
Not a true, because a lot of people that apparently have read the book too don't like the movie. But I'm like,
yeah. And I've heard the same thing as far as comparison from the novel to what's on screen. Like it's not the same. We're being creative here, guys.
It's almost not as radical, but almost like the '90s Romeo and Juliet, where it takes place in modern times. It's its own take on things and its own style and vibe. Which is what I got when I read the synopsis of it. Again, I Wikipedia that shit because I can't read that book in one day. But I was like, oh, it was vastly different. Some scenes were handled a little differently than the book.
Really?
And I was like, oh, okay, I dig that. I'm glad that it made me appreciate the film a little bit better that the director did that.
So speaking about the plot overall, it's a classic tale. It's basically these two characters, Heathcliff and Cathy, grew up with each other through sharing their own kind of trauma as well together as they've been growing up. But Heathcliff is a poor man. He doesn't have anything. He has no standing in the world. And Cathy is trying to make something of herself with what she can get. And there's a guy down the street who's interested in her, and she's shooting her shot, as they say. So she's like, you know what? I'm going to go for it.
A little more to it than that.
There's a little bit more, but I mean, I think it's like essentially
two people that definitely are probably meant for each other, but because of the circumstances and the wrong place at the wrong time, or right place at the wrong time, maybe other way around. I don't know. Like a series of events lead down to like them kind of almost despising each other. It's that interaction.
They both also really come from like a really dark past. Like they didn't really have like the best upbringing and stuff. And I think that goes with the theme of the whole Wuthering Heights being all foggy and dark and gothic, and then the other estate being more kind of lively like and showing like the escape from that. And that's why, in my mind at least, like that's why their love could never really be, is because of that dark past that never left them.
And I'm sure that's what the story's supposed to be like, but I'm gonna just I
gotta think on it too.
Yeah, just to say, I don't think these characters work together. I think from the other parts of the other films as well, I've seen this, and I'm like, these characters should not be together. They're terrible people, and I know this is supposed to be a love story, and that they have passion for each other, but I feel like that is not.
I think it's that passion, though. Honestly,
I think it's all
toxic
passion.
love.
Yeah.
It's a toxic.
There you
toxic
go.
as Marcus calls it. But it's also one of those things where the way I interpreted it was like Cathy's in that new life, but she never really feels like she belongs. I want to say that's the vibe I got, and that she found more like a you know how you get that feeling of home, when you're gone a long time from somewhere. I think that's kind of her longing, especially when Heathcliff comes back. I mean, we'll probably go into it, but because and then it's kind of like a lot of regret and what your decisions are in life.
I would say that regret that you know, it's that one person you want to tell how you feel about them. You don't know they feel the same way and stuff, and you have that regret of never saying nothing. Then
I think is honestly something like relatable to a lot of people.
Yeah, there's miscommunication. You know, people don't talk to each other. People still don't talk to each other. So
yeah, exactly right.
So let's just talk a little bit about the characters. I'm going to go starting with, let's just talk a little bit about Cathy herself. Mikey, since we haven't really heard a lot of your perspective on this, how did you feel about Cathy as a character?
I saw it 3 hours ago, bro. Hold on.
It's like trying to digest this still.
So for Cathy, for me, it's really just a struggle of like her vision on like the social portion of it and her actual love. And she has to make kind of a choice between the two, and she's kind of struggling back and forth. But I like how her character like has some time to sit in both of those kind of stories at the like parts of the movie. So she's with Heathcliff for a little while, and then he's like gone, and she's like, I thought that he was just gonna like be there like the whole time, and she would marry the guy, but actually he's like gone for a while. She has like years with the other guy, with Linton.
Edgar.
Yeah, it's like 5 years that go by or something.
Yeah, so it's like she has some time to like kind of settle in and actually like kind of almost forget about him. And then like when he pops back in, she's like kind of conflicted again. So she was like conflicted, and then she's like happy, somewhat happy with her new life. And then, you know, she gets interrupted again. And it's kind of that struggle between like how she wants to look socially and then how she has that passion or that love for, you know, her heart, I'd say, instead of that goes. And it kind of like, hey, she sacrifices a little bit of her, you know, her heart or her love for just how she is socially and kind of how the public kind of looks on her. So it's kind of a nice little struggle between the two.
She also pursued the other guy, Edgar, because of the fact that she wanted to escape like her conditions and stuff, and didn't want to, but she couldn't do it before because otherwise she'd be poor, and then didn't want to live like that. So I think that's really where the struggle came from too, of wanting to wait for Heathcliff, but also wanting to escape that crappy situation.
I mean, yeah, sort of, right? Because technically she pretty much changes her mind the next morning, but she doesn't realize Heathcliff's gone, like Mikey's saying.
All right.
Like she waits for him for like a couple of weeks, I think, or a month or something.
Yep.
Almost a year, right? Because she said that they pushed the wedding off for a year. So she was like waiting for them to come back.
So she's actually waiting on him to come back. Like she, you know, because she made her mind like, hey, guess we could be miserable together kind of. But then she thinks he's just gone.
Well, like James said earlier too, like it's right place, wrong time kind of thing. I think just her curiosity is what kind of started this whole social aspect of things, right? She's always wanting it, right? But as soon as she kind of sees it, it kind of brings a different perspective for her. But she's just really curious and just popping over to the house like she shouldn't be doing. But
yeah, with Isabella, creepy ass Isabella. She's also the sister at Salburn too. So
she is him.
Yeah, funny. I was like, that's cool. But man, what a shot, by the way, when Heathcliff decides to fucking leave in that fucking red, it's very Gone with the Wind. Oh my God, dude. I was like,
that's great.
God, I almost single tear, boys. I was like, and when he comes back with the fog and shit, and I was like, who's the guy with the earring?
His whole attire, the contrast of the change from him being long haired and all bearded and everything. I mean, he looks with a beard.
No, hey, Marco, I'll say it. You look handsome as hell. I ain't gonna lie to you,
dude. Yeah, and then he cleans it. He rocks both styles, and then he comes back all just.
You're like he looked like Jesus Christ before he left, and then comes back. And I'm like, this guy looking like a pirate now. What is he? Got a gold tooth? Right? I was like, and you never know how he got his money. By the way,
I like that.
So mysterious.
I like how they leave that in the mystery.
Either.
Yeah,
he definitely. I mean, I know I'm rambling on, talking a bit too much here. I'm getting my second wind today, boys. But it seems like he kind of comes back and he's just like, he's kind of in that mode where he's just like, he's like, you ain't shit. You know what I mean?
He's got the big dick energy.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is.
For sure.
He's got that go fuck yourself kind of a feeling. Like,
I think it's also kind of a vendetta against Cathy, right? Because of how, burned he was.
Because he thinks like she had said, there's a misinterpretation of what he thought she was, talking to with Nelly.
Only heard part of the conversation.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy too because they both have a misinterpretation of what happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She thinks he just left her, and then he thinks she just left him. So it's like it's kind of crazy. They're kind of in the same position.
Because he only heard the part where it's like, oh, he's gonna bring me like it's gonna be terrible. I'm gonna be like disavowed or so. What the fuck? I forgot the wording exactly.
Yeah.
If we're together, this we're gonna be poor and all this shit. So he's like, let me go off for fucking 7 years and become rich.
Which I think is an interesting thing, because it's also like, if she didn't do that, he probably would have never have gotten rich and gone on his way to do it, because he left the country. He went to America. We don't know what he did. He came back with money. That doesn't necessarily mean that would have happened.
I don't know. I could be wrong, but I'm like, it's implied that he did it through gambling, because that's what her father did, was a gambler.
Yeah, I don't know. But so with that all said, again, I know I said that we're not spoiling too much, but really, if you haven't read the book and you haven't seen any of these movies, then I'm sorry. The story is it's a very old story, so we're gonna spoil some stuff here. Right? There's not much else to say, but what happens is that when Heathcliff does come back and he has this kind of vendetta against Cathy does kind of push back a little bit, but eventually kind of succumbs, saying that once they've actually talked and cleared the air, they kind of have a love affair, essentially, for a while.
Kind of. What do you mean?
What's going on? Yeah, it's
full blown from like months or whatever.
Do you feel that? So, what did you think about the romance in this movie? Do you feel like this relationship really? Let me say, the trailer really gave off some steaminess. There was some hot, under the collar situations, but I don't know if whatever they were showing in the trailer translates what was actually in the film.
There's a few scenes that are like implied.
It was
there
was it was passionate but toxic. Again, I think it has to do with the themes of the two states. Like their love was always like this toxic thing, and
especially because he was already established with the one guy, and it was like, this is not going to end well. You already knew, like, this ain't going to end well.
Yeah. And it was sort of like, it was a heated passion, because they were both also very angry. It was almost like angry sex with each other as well, too.
Yeah. No, I got that.
As well as angry,
I didn't think about that. Sure.
It was even like, oh, you don't want it, but then Heathcliff be just rolling up, and I'm like, a little aggressive, right? A little aggressive, but
just a bit.
She still went in with it. Yeah,
like,
they were doing stuff to each other where I was like,
I don't think
I
they
don't
did
know
that back then.
I was like, I don't know what the end outcome of this is, but this can't be ending well, because then, obviously things fall apart from there. So
I will say as well that her husband, Edgar, was kind of, once he kind of figured out what was going on, to not sully her reputation and also not sully his name, to try to find a way for her to walk away from that situation and say, like, you need to cut this off. You need to be done with it. Obviously that didn't work out very well, but
he's like, stop.
He tried.
Stop.
He's like,
he's like the neighbor though. Like, how is he going to do that? Like, you can't cut that off.
I'm like, have you seen this guy?
I mean, hard to resist, right?
He comes from the fantastical mountain fucking village up there. I don't know what the fuck that is. There's dragons up there, I think, or some shit. I don't know. It's fucking weird.
Fog just follows him everywhere. So
yeah, pretty much like on cue.
And we also had Nelly, who is, I guess she's Cathy's kind of like handmaiden or something like that, right?
She's her paid friend or companion.
She originally, but
it's like a handmaiden of the father, because she was supposed to be somewhat noble, like, right, or something.
Yeah. So she was kind of the catalyst for the breakup, because of the fact that she actually knew that Heathcliff was listening into the conversation where Cathy was professing her conflict of like moving forward with Edgar, but never actually told Cathy that. And so she has an interesting arc in here, because I feel like she tried to redeem herself, but then also, things fell apart pretty quickly, especially near the end. I'm going to, again, because Mikey, I don't know, maybe you just forgot most of the movie this morning. You haven't really said much here. What were your thoughts about Nelly as a character in this film?
I liked her. She's like I feel like she's like the person that has her fingers in everything. And I honestly think she is trying to do what's best for, like, for Cathy, yeah.
Well, you don't feel like it's also kind of self-preservation, because, if Cathy fails, she also has to live in this, like she's following her around.
I mean, sure, she has some selfish kind of things that are going on there, but honestly, I think she knows that Heathcliff is bad for her. So she's trying to guard her from that situation. She knows that that's not the way she should go as far as her life. And so she's pushing her towards that way. So yeah, she's a little selfish, but I also think she's trying to protect her. Even as a kid, like earlier in the movie, she's like trying to guard her from just the whole situation of her dad and all that kind of stuff here. So I think that's kind of even later on in the movie, she's still kind of protecting her a little bit. I don't think it's fully just a selfish thing she's doing. So, yeah, she like does a lot of stuff to like, she's a tattler, right? She goes and tattles on her. But,
well,
but it's like she is trying to guard her a little bit, I think.
James, you've got a lot of facial expressions here.
Mikey? Nelly's the worst fucking character in this fucking movie, by the way. She's mad in the beginning. You must have not caught this. Like because she's Cathy's only friend. So, and then when Heathcliff shows up, he takes that spot from her. So she has a grudge against him her entire life growing up. So that's why when she sees the opportunity to finally get rid of Heathcliff, she's like, I'm going to say some shit because she's conniving, dude.
I partly agree with James. I don't think she's the worst character in the movie, but I do think that she did everything for her own self-interest. The only reason she advised her is basically because she knew that Nelly knew she would go along with Catherine if they were put in a better situation. So taking care of Cathy and putting her in a better situation puts Nelly in a better situation. So that's really why. But the Heathcliff situation, Nelly's fucked. She doesn't have anything. So really the whole self-preservation thing is really what motivated her to quote unquote protect Cathy. So I partially agree with James.
But I don't. I
still think that they're all these characters
just terrible
really
people.
just they're all terrible people.
We wouldn't kick it with any of these people. So especially when she's burning the letters at the end, I'm like, just get one through.
That
like,
was messed up.
For fuck's sake, dude. I'm like, all right.
No, but
Mikey
that's
like,
why I was kind of saying that though, because she could have gave the letters to her and still been over there. Because at that point, she's already at the bigger house and everything like that. She would have just stayed there. So I don't think everything she's doing is just a selfish thing.
Well, I think so too.
You got to remember though, she got fired from Cathy right before that, but she still sticks around because Edgar's like
right. So she's already had, her situation's already there. She's at the house. She doesn't need Cathy anymore at that point, and yet she still guards her from that situation.
I don't think Edgar would keep Nelly around if Cathy ruined that situation. So I think she also burned the letter again, also for self-preservation. And the only reason she wasn't fired is because Edgar just wanted a power play and wanted to show Cathy like, no, I run this bitch.
I got that vibe too. Yeah,
I can see that. So that her own hubris kind of gets her, right? Like where it ends up being that, again, spoiler here, but Cathy ends up passing. But the way she doesn't realize she's sick. She thinks it's like, I don't know, melancholy or something like that. And then it's just like, this woman is about to die, and it's all too late. And she should have caught it and actually like been properly checked. If she had been properly checking on Cathy, they would have caught, she had, I think it was sepsis that they found on her leg. There's also one other character we haven't talked about yet, which is Isabella Linton, which is Edgar's ward. Is it his sister? It's a sister, right?
Younger sister, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, younger sister. Speaking of characters that we all hate, I loved Isabella. She's my favorite character. She was cool. She's just, she's young,
weird,
and she plays weird. Young. She's weird. You can tell she's been sheltered all her life. She's taking locks of people's hairs and making dollhouses and like doing weird scrapbooks. Just
that scene, she's like, "It's your real hair. I didn't think you'd mind." I was like, creepy.
I just took it from your comb. It's fine.
Yeah, you wouldn't be a bother. I'm like, please stop doing this.
I collected your hair for 6 months. Congratulations. You get a doll.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm going to put in this life-size fucking mansion, and I'll put you right here.
Those are some of the funnier scenes when you can tell that she's crossed and they go to the dollhouse and you can see like, Cathy's basically murdered by her in the doll form. It's freaking hilarious. There's also, I love this scene. I think my favorite scene was when Heathcliff is basically being shunned out of any more future relationship with Cathy and decides to do the ultimate FU to everybody, which is to go to Isabella and, not having to do too much work, but persuade her to marry him. And he warns her that he's going to treat her like crap and that she's not going to enjoy it and she'll never have any love from him. And as a kid who's just like, yeah, I need, whatever this is, I need it on me. She's like, yes, I don't care. Let's do it.
She did it all for the looks.
She did.
Of course. She saw him.
I probably would have been like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
If he came up to me like that.
I mean, she knows he's using her too, and to the point where like he treats her like a dog, but it's almost like he's overdoing it just to kind of press a knife a little bit more into them.
I think he's trying to see how far he can go to break her, but she doesn't break, and good on her, I guess.
She kind of just rolls with it with him.
Yeah.
I mean, she even fights back a little bit. Like, you can't read. Or you can't write. Yeah, so she like plays into it a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah,
The little power
are you
she's
going to
got.
write the letter? And I was like,
I kind of like that part where she just gives him shit for that.
So, I mean, and Nelly does try to save her near the end because after Kathy's fate occurs,
she goes and
she
picks
comes
her
in
up.
to say, yeah, she's like, you got to
Because
get
by
out of
then
here.
it's done, dude.
Yeah, like, we done with this. Yeah, and then I think we touched a little bit on the music, but we can just go back since it is Charlie XCX who did this entire soundtrack. Anybody have any strong feelings towards the music? I will just say it worked well. You wouldn't have known it was her, but she's got her own little style into it. I enjoyed the music for the most part.
I think it
Me
fit
too.
the movie. I'm glad they didn't do the whole like time period music because I felt that would have put me to sleep. It works for some movies, but I think for this, doing that change and making it a little bit more modern worked.
Yeah, I noticed you're wearing a Brat t-shirt right now too, Nabil, so I can only imagine you
Respects.
really like this one. You did a double feature with The Moment afterwards too. No, I thought it was good. The soundtrack was cool. It really fit like how you were bringing it up. Like, there's a lot of this movie, even though it takes place in the 1800s, there's a lot of modern day twist to it.
Yeah.
Still, that gives you, like Marco was saying, with that Romeo and Juliet kind of a twist to it too. Not as like heavy, obviously, but it also features like the music. Someone like you were talking about, like the nighttime thing that she's wearing in the middle. Obviously, is not even that material wasn't even around back then. I think
Right.
So there's a lot of little subtle things like that. So it worked out well.
Agreed. Again, we basically spoiled this film, so there isn't really a spoiler section to talk about. But I just want to ask: is there anything else that you want to touch on? Did this film make you want to read the novel or watch some of the older ones to get
honestly, I was like the couple hours I had between now and when I watched the movie, I was trying to
The 45 minutes, yeah.
I was looking at what some of the other movies had, and they were talking about like their kids and stuff, like the different kids from the different places, and I was like, oh, there's a whole nother generation that they didn't have in this movie that are in the other movies. So I was like kind of curious to go back and watch some of these other ones just to see what they do with the second generation of their kids and stuff that are going on.
The whole ghost shit.
The ghost stuff that Nabil was talking. I didn't even know that, but yeah, what he was talking about, I was like, that kind of makes me want to kind of go see some of this stuff and check it out again.
All right, so with that, let's just give our ratings and if we'd recommend this movie. I'm gonna start with you, Mikey. What were your recommendation? How many stars to give it?
I gave it 3. I said in the beginning, it didn't blow me away. Actually, talking about this made me like it a little bit more. I almost bumped it up another half star just because, talking to you guys, I had a little bit more time to think about it and kind of process a lot of stuff. So,
Marco, how about you? How many stars did you give this film?
I give it a 3 too. I think I was a little higher last night because I just seen it and then thinking about it, I was like, it was good. It wasn't great. It didn't blow me out of the water, but it's 3. It's watchable. It's enjoyable to a point.
All right. How about you, James?
I gave it 4 stars. I liked it a lot. Enjoyable, beautifully shot.
Yeah, I gave it 3 stars. I think it is visually very cool. Emerald Fennell does, just watching it for her style is a great thing. I think the story's fine. And I do think that, at least some of the other versions are probably better told as far as a period piece is concerned. But it is worth a watch in general just because it's an interesting take on it. And again, visually speaking, it's appealing. And if you can see it in the theaters for that, it's worth doing.
All right, that wraps up episode 218 of the Movie Pals podcast. Marco, let everyone know how they can keep up with us.
You can find us on every major podcast platform, so follow and listen wherever you like. For links to all our socials and more, head over to linktree/moviepalspod. That's linktr.ee/moviepalspod. And don't forget to smash that subscribe button so you never miss an episode or a steamy romance.
and check us out on TikTok at Movie Pals Pod for sneak peeks, quick takes, and behind the scene clips.
And coming up next, episode 219, where we will be reviewing Scream 7. As well as it's that time of year again, we're going to be going over our experience watching and getting ready for this year's Academy Awards.
Thank you for listening. This is the Movie Pals signing out.